Hi, I'm Mike Yanessa. Welcome to another episode of Car Stories here on PCTV. We have a lot to talk about tonight. We're at Wheels in Motion at 525 East High Street, and we're going to start off with a little music, okay? You'll see the theme song for Car Stories for about the last year is My Brother's Song. It was recorded in about 1967. Here's the record of it in Philadelphia at Big Time Records. And I reached out before, and I'm reaching out again, if anyone would have any music, possibly, of his bands in the late 60s. The groups were the Fowl Brothers, the Soul Brothers 3, and FBI for a short time. He played at Sunnybrook Swim Club, North End Swim Club, and how about the Red Carriage Inn? Any of our viewers remember that? That's going way back. It's on High Street, somewhere around where Lily's Grill is now, which is, of course, from the diner, which used to be Dempsey's. Downtown Motor Inn was another one of his, often he played at. So I'm always asking if anyone has any recorded music from that era. Hopefully, maybe we could catch them at the Battle of Bands at Northern Junior High School in like 67, 68, and 69. So once again, if you know anybody, friends that have old reel-to-reel tapes of some early bands, I would love to have my brother's music. And we talked about music before on the show, but here tonight I have a little bit of different types of stuff for cars. Okay, not everybody, but a lot of the viewers might remember the 8-track. Okay, I have a collection of 8-tracks. The 8-track tapes a lot of times look like this because they break. You can take them apart, break out the plastic, retape them back together, and you put new pads in here. It's just foam rubber like you could get from Home Depot. And you can actually restore an 8-track tape. The tape usually doesn't go bad. It's the wheels and the pads. And I've done a couple. I have one working 8-track in my 56 Chevy. But the 4-track preceded the 8-track. This is a 4-track tape. I was surprised how many people didn't know that were older than me. 4-track only had 2 selections instead of 4. And you can tell because of the hole in the bottom. And this is an old 4-track player from the 50s, maybe early 60s. And when you hit the button, that wheel comes up and engages the tape and starts it to play. So 4-track, 8-track, 45 record. And how about this? FM converter. You know how many of these I put in cars? If you had an AM radio, you would just plug this in and you'd have FM. Of course, it wouldn't be stereo. And the sound quality was still working off the AM, but you had FM for maybe $12, $15 back in the day. I still have one in my Chevelle, but what I've been doing lately, and Big Red was probably the first one, is this little unit here. There's 2 different ones. This one is the about $89.95, and then there's one that's like $150 that's more powerful. This little unit, you can mount in the car, run it to a set of speakers, and get quality music, digital music from your phone. So we have all kind of music for the cars, the 8-track, the cassette players, which are gone, even CDs are gone. But one thing you do for your old classic car is this little box here. It's a Bluetooth box. It's very inexpensive. You can hide it in your car just about anywhere. It hooks up to power and hooks up to 2 speakers. And then you can take your cell phone or a card, or it has input jacks, any type of music, laptop, whatever, but your cell phone's the easiest, and you can play music in your old car. It's an inexpensive way. Instead of putting a custom stereo in each car that costs thousands of dollars, you can put one of these in each car. That way, when you're riding around to a cruise night or whatever, you have the music you want to listen to, and it's clear and commercial-free. And pretty cool device. Woody Customs makes ones that we sell here at Wheels in Motion. One's in Big Red. It's one that has a little more power than this one. I believe this was like $90 and the other one was like $169. Don't quote me on that, but that's cheap to get some tunes in your car, and you don't have to take the original radio out of the dashboard. And it's just something for our viewers out there. If you're into music like I am and you want it in your classic car, it's an affordable way to put it in. So, and then the other stuff I have here is just some collectible stuff I wanted to share with you tonight. Check this out. It's in brand new condition. It's probably from about the 50s, early 60s, and it is Pottstown. So I have that. And there's a little thing of ice scrapers over here. Hatfield Chainer. Does anybody remember that store? It's down on High Street where the coffee shop was on the corner, across from Moser Road, across from Advanced Auto. Firestone store, which is still there, but you can tell how old this is. The phone number was 3104. And Schaefer's Getty Station, Charlotte Street, ice scraper, from when I used to work there. And it's a shame now that station's all abandoned, but in one day it was a very successful gas station and service station, and I worked there in the 70s, Jake Schaefer's Getty Station. And of course, Mike's Service Center, my garage at 1189 Farmington Avenue. And on here it says it's our 10th anniversary from 1979 to 1989. So that was 30 years ago plus. It's 44 or 43 now for me being in the Pottstown area between Mike's Service Center and Wheels in Motion. And you'll notice they're leaning up against an old motor's manual that a customer came in today. His name is Flip. He used to work at Howard Cates Ford and at John Kennedy Ford, and he had no use for it, so he gave it to me. I'll look through it. It's all old car procedures, carburetors and adjustments. A lot of the stuff today we get, the information we get today for cars is all online. And instead of buying hundreds of dollars of books like we used to, we spend a lot of money each month subscribing for information. What kind of oil does your car take? How many quarts does it take? When's the service due? Technical questions if your car is making a noise or a check engine light. It's all available to us on a subscription basis that we can look up online. Because the cars today are complicated. I say that in many of my shows, and one of the things we've been finding here at Wheels in Motion is preventive maintenance. A lot of people only do the minimum, which might have been okay when you were trading them in every couple of years, but now with the car shortage and the high prices, a lot of people are holding on to their car and they're choosing to spend more money on preventive maintenance. So again, I've said this before in other shows, if you have nothing to do, just look at your car's mileage, look at your service owner's manual and your service schedule, and see if there's anything that should be done. Like my wife's car, it's 70,000 miles on it, and I didn't realize it, slipped by me. I should have had spark plugs at 60. And if you don't do that, it's going to cause more trouble down the road. Fluids, rear fluids, tranny fluids. So go over your vehicle, your wife's vehicle, even your old car, and spend a little bit of time and money getting it in shape, because it'll save you money in the long run. So preventive maintenance is very important. State inspections. I've talked about this before, but I still got to say it again. A lot of people don't realize that you can get it done 3 months early and still get 15 months or the minimum of a year. And don't forget, your owner's card and your insurance card needs to be in your vehicle current, because when you bring it here, we can't complete the inspection unless you have your paperwork. And your wheel lock. Wheel locks, a lot of people don't have, there's a lot of compartments in new cars. In the old days, it was the glove compartment or the console. Now there's so many little compartments that, the wheel locks and things like that get lost in a vehicle. So make sure that stuff is in a common area that you can get to it. If you ever would have a flat or you ever would bring it in for service, you know where that is at. So Wheels in Motion also offers a 2% discount on cash sales. We pay processing fees for the credit cards, so when you come in and you bring cash, you'll get a 2% discount. So helps a little bit, and it saves us some money in processing fees at the credit card companies. WeatherTech. WeatherTech has been a good seller for us, but we're overstocked. We have too many numbers in stock. WeatherTech is one of those products that you're not allowed to discount, but they gave us permission to discount it because we have so many in stock. So any WeatherTech in stock is $80 to $90. A couple of the back ones are even a little bit cheaper. It's about 25 to 30% off because WeatherTech now is $120, free shipping if you buy at Wheels in Motion. And don't forget, Christmas is around the corner. So jot down a couple of your vehicles and stop by, and hopefully we have a set in stock for a Christmas gift or for your old car. I've had a lot of people lately with an older car that they want to freshen up, so they'll come in and buy WeatherTech. Where before, it was a lot of people that bought a new car. Now, if they have a 17 and the floor mats are wearing out, they stop in. So don't forget to tell your friends, Wheels in Motion, only place around. You're going to get WeatherTech at a discount if we have it in stock. So some of the other things that we're selling a lot of lately is tires and wheels. Again, you know, guy buys a pickup truck, he wants to put the biggest tire on he can without lifting it or spending lots of money, and wants something aggressive but not noisy. This is the one we like. It's the Nitto. They make like 3 different styles. This is the nice snow tire, truck tire. There's one above this that is really knobby for off-road and it's noisy. This one here is probably the best bang for the buck as far as it'll get you through the snow, it's aggressive looking, and it's not noisy going down the highway. So he's just going to use his factory wheels, and these Nitto Terra Grappler is what these are. So, and also some wheels back here are really cool. They're going on a 2020 Honda. Check these out. And they're about $1,200 for the set, which isn't bad nowadays because a lot of wheels are $500, $600 a piece. These are like $300. And they're different. They got this red finish on them, black, really, really sharp. So stop in or give us a call. We'll be glad to look up your wheel, you know, what wheels fit your car, and then there's actually, you can go online and do it yourself. Because a lot of people will come in and they don't know an idea what they want, and there's thousands of wheels. So you have to narrow it down to 17, 18, 19, black, chrome, and we can help you with that at Wheels in Motion. And another set behind us here, Gus, really cool. It's a flat black, they're going on a Jeep. Nice wheel, affordable again. I forget how much they are, but they're not terrible. So, Wheels in Motion, the place to get your wheels. So, if you're looking to fresh up your ride, stop by, give us a call, and we'll try to help you out. All right, let me see what else I got on my list here. About the only other thing I wanted to talk about, which I briefly touched on, is the new car shortage, used car shortage. There's not much out there, and if it is out there, it's expensive. Some of the dealers are even selling new cars for over MSRP. I just talked to a dealer today, and the new Denali's, the deluxe Denali, they're $15,000 over MSRP because they can't get them, and if they do get them, that's a tough one. I mean, they are kind of taking advantage of the situation, but they're not selling as many cars, so they need to pay their bills too. So it's a tough spot. You know, if you need a new car and you pick the fancy one, sometimes you will pay for it. So I got some stuff in the back I want to talk to you about. So Gus, let's go in the back and look at some body work and what's going on in the back of Wheels in Motion. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about back here is this 2016 Suburban. Belongs to a good friend of mine, Dave Zarnecki. He's well known in the area for alarm systems. And he bought this Suburban used. The weird thing about it is the roof and the hood are going away. The paint's going away, and it's microscopically cracking. Reminds you of an old lacquer. Typically, to my knowledge and Jeff's knowledge, you know, urethane and water-based paint does not do that. So we don't know if the hood was repainted with a cheap paint, maybe, before Dave bought it, or possibly it lived its life in hot weather like Florida, Arizona. That would cause that. So believe it or not, the only way to fix this is to strip it down to bare metal and start over. Because even if you sand that out and sand it and get it looking good, I mean, I've done it and primed it and painted it. A few months later in the hot sun, you'll see images of those fractures and just the pattern of the way it starting to delam is what we call it. Eventually it's going to be peeling. It's just very unusual for a GM product to do that. I don't have the answers yet, but when the paint rep comes in, I'm going to ask him. So pull the hood off, strip it down to bare metal, paint it, put it back. That's my project this week. Of course, over here we have a nice Javelin here for a little bit of repair. You don't see them every day. It's a nice car, black, 4-speed. And then over there in the lift is Big Red. I had a great time this summer at the Camaro Nationals, which we did a show on. I hope you got to see it. And at the GM Nationals up at Carlisle, that was Big Red's 2 big shows, indoor shows. And then I had it over at Duryea Day. And it was nice to see all my friends, and everybody complimented me on how nice the car came out, because as you all know, it was a long road to get it to look like that. So Big Red's over there. I got a couple little things to do. And now we have some indoor shows this winter. The first one is Timonium, Maryland. Okay, if you want to Google it and look it up, Motorama Productions. Timonium, Maryland, indoor show. Now this is a judge show, and it is for trophies and cash. The shows I did this summer were just for display, just for fun. So it'll be interesting to see if Big Red does anything at these shows, because the competition is stiff. The next one is the Drag Fest up in York. It's all old drag cars, and that's January 7th and 8th. I've been there. We did a show there. Excellent. The next one is February 18th and 19th at the Pennsylvania State Farm Show Complex in Harrisburg, another indoor show. And then the Mid-Atlantic Show, which is right here in Oaks, right in our back door, which we've done a few years back, but not lately. So 4 good indoor shows. If you got the winter blues and you want to go out and see some cars, try to make it to one of them. If you make it to the one at Timonium, I'm definitely doing that one. I'd like to do this one, but we'll see, weather and everything else, how that plays. But Motorama Productions. So that's my winter with Big Red. Once I want to get the exhaust built on it and touch up a couple things, but not too much left to do on it. So let's go back and see what kind of heavy collision work that Jeff's into. So for the past, I'd say year and a half, the collision business has been very busy. Not just Wheels of Motion, all the other body shops. You're waiting on an average 2 months. And some of these shops have, 12 technicians, 10 technicians. Here at Wheels of Motion, the main guy, Jeff, he does most of the body work, if not all of it. And of course, Colin helps out with the mechanical, and I help out from time to time, but a lot of it falls on his back. And people get their cars in, and this one was written for a tailgate and a bumper, okay? So it's going to take a couple days, right? Well, no. Once we pulled the bumper off, this whole corner was smashed in, okay? The taillight was out of whack. This inner structure here had a big kink in it. So Jeff had to put it on the frame machine, use this giant tower here to pull the inner structure where it should be, which is very tedious, and you have to have it close, because if you don't, the bumper's not going to fit, the taillight's not going to fit. And the original estimate, none of this was included. So one thing it does, it adds time to the job when you're already busy. So the customer's expecting his car in a couple days, and it turns into a couple weeks, and then the next car doesn't get done, and it's a trickle effect. The other problem, which I'm sure everybody's aware of by now, is parts. A lot of times you can't get this. Lucky enough, they had this black piece, but Jeff would have liked to have maybe this piece on the inside. Can't get it, so he fixed it, right? And it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it, but it takes time to do that. It's definitely a lost art. And a lot of the cars, when they get hit, oh, it's just a bumper. It's just this. But when we tear into them, it turns into more. And we've talked about this before, the technology of these cars. The cars that have radar, and they have lane assist, and they have computers, and it's a rolling computer more than it is a car. And that's all evolved in the last, I'd say, 5 years. And people, and including myself, like to buy these fancy cars with all the gadgets, but then when it comes time to fix them, sometimes they can be a headache. People ask me all the time, are the cars, all the electronics, are they reliable? Yeah, really. We get very few cars with a touch screen or body control module issues, really don't. But when they're in an accident and you take them apart, you have to get everything recalibrated and everything working again. you wouldn't want your lane changer to be off by 5 feet because you're going to run into something. So the collision business has definitely changed, and it's very difficult sometimes to get them back because of pieces and because of the inner structure damage. So this is a good example of how a bumper and a tailgate turns into quite a big job. Okay, how about this familiar face? Does anybody remember this? This was on the Backyard Buddy where Big Red's at today, up in the air for 2-3 years. I bought it for a parts car for the yellow Chevelle, and Bob, who works for me, bought it from me. I still get to take some parts off of it for my car, but he's going to redo it and make a nice street car out of it. He's got a fresh 396 big block built for it, turbo 350. Right now, he's doing the front suspension, disc brakes, power steering, and getting her on the road. He took my advice. He spends an hour every morning. He comes in early, and this is what he does from 7 to 8 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock comes, he gets to work. And all of a sudden, in a week or two's time, that's probably all he has into it. He's got disc brakes, he's got power steering, and it's coming along. Just an hour a day. So 68 Chevelle, 396, and I'll keep you updated as it progresses, and it'll be a cool hot rod for him to cruise around in. Okay, this Ford F-250, folks, isn't going to make it. This one is hit way too hard, and it's totaled. So it came in the shop today, stripped some parts of it before they pick it up and take it to the junkyard. So not all of them are fixable, even though this has a high value, because trucks are hard to get, it's still too much to fix. And that's one thing that I want to touch on a little bit about the collision business. I said how busy we are and other shops are. Right now, we are not writing free estimates. Okay, the insurance company needs to write your estimate, and we are booking into January. So it's good to be busy, but it's also hard for me to turn down work, and it's hard when they're a repeat customer or a friend. It's just that busy, and we're understaffed, so it's hard to knock them out, especially when they turn into a bigger project than originally planned, like the white one I just showed you. So hopefully things get back to a little bit more normal, but right now it's just crazy in the collision business because of many reasons. In my spare time this winter, Big Red was last winter, and the winter before, and the winter before, but in my spare time, I'm just about ready to get this one down off the lift. That was my father's '68 Cadillac Convertible. Most of the bodywork's done. I've started rebuilding the front suspension, so I got to finish that. And it's not much to look at now, it's all dusty and dirty, but I hopefully have that painted and done for next summer. Now that's a tall order, but I definitely will be making progress on it this winter. You get that rare '68 Cadillac Convertible, black, white top, red leather interior, wire wheels, just like I did it in 1988. Except this time it's going to be a lot nicer and straighter. It's like Big Red. You know, it stinks that happened to Big Red, but Big Red is nicer now than it ever was, and it's going to stay that way. So I guess that's about it tonight for Car Stories. I want to wish everybody a happy Halloween. Pottstown's Halloween Parade is the 22nd of October. If you need a place to hang out, come hang out in front of Wheels in Motion at 525 East High Street. And remember, tell your friends, tell your family, take care of their car, and if they need anything, to give us a call here at Wheels in Motion. Thanks a lot for tuning in to another episode of Car Stories here on PCTV.